Hey, boss, he ain't working.
Welcome back to another episode of Pour Your Own Problems. I am your host, Mercy. Hey, sippers, sip it, whatever you have in your cup. Remember, pour your own problems. I can't do it for you. All right, man. Guess what? We finna get it. Go ahead and get into the show. I titled this one "A Little Too Late and Tone Deaf." And so I checked out this video today with Barack Obama. He stepped onto Michelle Obama's podcast along with her brother, and the Manosphere came up. And I thought it was very interesting, their conversation that they were having. And so let's get into the video, see what y'all feel and what y'all think. Let's go.
And then the other show that people are talking about, Adolescence, which I haven't watched yet, which it gets into sort of the misogyny that young boys are exposed to,
and the online,
the Manosphere.
They're getting their parenting.
They're getting their
online.
Parenting.
They're getting their notions of manhood from extreme
extremists.
Yeah, extremists.
I'm gonna stop it right there, man. There's some truth in that, but we can say the same for our daughters as well. I think it's extremists on both sides of the fence, whether it's feminists or guys that's in the manosphere or whatever you want to call it, red pill. Okay. I think it's extremes on both sides. And I think it's alarming for all of our children, not just boys. But let's get back into it. Let's hit them out.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because let's go back to the original question. All right. Emma's trying to figure out how to raise boys. I think we did a pretty good job of raising our girls. But I've said often that I think I would have had more difficulty raising a son.
I agree.
Because I think I might have been more judgmental, harder, and I would have tried to. I'd like to think I would have been more self-aware enough to combat that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think father-son relationships, for me particularly, if I don't have a dad around to show it to me, might have been more difficult. So, talk about Craig. Just.
I'm gonna say it, Barack. I mean, you combating with your son. If you had a son, if you had a son, you would know that that's natural. I think people forget that some of our traits as men are natural. They always like to say toxic masculinity and all these things in nature, but a lot of what we display is actual natural. So, and I don't even understand why they asking Michelle's brother anything come on, man. Like, let's be for real. Sippers, let's be for real. Come on. Let's keep it going.
With their friends, and they're in a group, and the guy's got crocodile arms.
Yeah.
It's like
not picking up the check.
Not picking up the check, and it's like, okay, you don't have to pick it up all the time, but if you're never picking it up,
right,
that's a problem.
Says something about you.
If you're never opening a door or pulling out a chair, because that's just common courtesy. That's just being kind, right? So, for those of you who do not have sons, so Emma, we are rooting for you because those of us with daughters,
we need good men.
We've got to have good guys out there, not necessarily to get married, but to make sure that what we're learning, I think, is.
Then what's the goal? Then what's the goal to get our young people together if it's not to ultimately come together and get married? Like, I sped through this video a little bit because I just seen certain points that they were talking a lot of truths, but then also it was like still missing pieces, missing blocks to the story.
That when we don't think about boys and just assume they're going to be okay because they've been running the world and they've got all the advantages relative to the girls, and all of which has historically been true in all kinds of ways. But precisely because of that, if you're not thinking about what's happening to boys and how are they being raised, then that can actually hurt women. And I would argue that some of the broad political trends we've seen, not just in this country, but around the world, have to do with this sense of, boys, men not feeling as if they are seen, feeling as if they count. Mm-hmm. And that then makes them more interested in appeals by folks who say, you know what, the reason you don't feel respected is because women have been doing this, or this group has been doing this, or that group's been doing this, and that is not that's not a healthy place to be. And I will say, as quote unquote progressives,
see, yeah, I like what I'm saying is it's truths in it, and then it's not so true. What they're the direction they're trying to point the narrative in. Like, yes, you have truths in the perspective of why these guys are seeking out other things, and it's because our celebrities, our politicians, our because not everybody grow up having some type of role model. We had, our role models were, the days of Martin Luther King, the days of these icons and things of that nature are long gone. So who did we look up to? Who did we search for? We searched for the Obamas, the superstars of the world, the actors, the actresses, and things of that nature. And they gave us nothing. So for you to say, when we look towards another entity, what they're teaching, you're saying like what they're teaching is absolutely wrong. When I look at from perspective, some guys are have adjusted with the times. And see, I think they're having a conversation because they're behind the curve. They've been too late. They're a little too late and a little tone deaf on what young men and guys have been speaking on for a few decades now. And now, you want to come out and say these things. And I'm like, I get you, but I don't really, I'm not really all the way there with this talking point, with the direction that you're trying to bring into the narrative. But let's keep it going.
Democrats, progressive parents, enlightened ones, we've made that mistake sometimes in terms of our rhetoric, where it's like we're constantly talking about it, what's wrong with the boys, mm-hmm, instead of what's right with them.
You still doing it. It's not too long ago, Barack, that you just did this when we had the presidential election. I could have sworn I seen you on videos chastising men to vote for Kamala Harris. So you still on that. You still on that. All this I feel like is a little tongue in cheek because you still on that. You just did this last last year, the end of last year. So you're still doing it. You talking as if you and the other politicians haven't been doing it. Like, no, y'all still are doing it. Still are doing it.
We rightly have tried to invest in girls to make sure that there's a level playing field, and then they're not barred from opportunities. But we haven't been as willing, I think, to be intentional about investing in the boys, and that's been a mistake. And I think people are starting to recognize that. So going back,
at least he acknowledged that.
To your optimism, I think there's a healthier conversation taking place now, both among this new generation of young women and men, but also among the public at large, that's starting to see like, hey, you know, we got to do better by our boys. And if we do better by our boys and we're producing stronger, more confident men, that's going to be good for our girls and our women as well.
And see, right there, good for our girls. I think they see, in my opinion, I think they see the landscape. Their girls are older and out in the world now, and they see the landscape of the men that are out there. You got guys that's going somewhere, guys that's extremely on the red pill, and then you got the no shit guys. To be frank, you got guys that's not going anywhere, and I think since their girls are out in the world now, you're starting to have this perspective. And what about everybody else's children that were out there at that time? You wasn't thinking about them then, but now that your daughters are older, now you're thinking about the men, the young men. Yeah, I'm not really buying it, but you know, sippers, y'all tell me, y'all let me know what y'all think. I think it's a little too late. I think they've been very tone deaf, and now that their daughters are out there in the world, they want to see change. Hey, like, comment, share. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm out.